In a quiet hospital room, sunlight slipped gently through the curtains. The world outside was busy, but inside, time had stopped. A little boy lay still, his breath soft and fading like whispers in the wind. Beside him, an old golden retriever rested its head near his tiny hand. This wasn't just a dog. It was his guardian, his best friend, his silent angel. Doctors had said there wasn't much time left, but the dog didn't move. It had waited for days, sensing what no human words could ever explain. Every rise and fall of the boy's chest was a promise. "I'm still here, buddy." And the dog answered not with words, but with love, pure, endless, and loyal. As night fell, nurses found the dog curled against him, refusing to leave. It's as if the dog knew this was their last moment together on earth. He pressed his head close to the boy's heart, listening, remembering. Then something beautiful happened, something no one could believe. The boy smiled one last time, weak but peaceful, his hand on the dog's fur. Tears filled the room, but the dog didn't cry. He simply stayed. Because love doesn't end when breath does. It lingers, it waits, it protects. That night, the world witnessed a farewell that broke every heart, a bond beyond words, between a child and his loyal friend. And what the dog did next made the whole world cry. This is their story of love, loss, and a promise that never dies. He was just 6, fragile, joyful, and full of questions about the stars. Every morning, laughter echoed through the small house like music, and always, right beside him, was his golden retriever, Max. Max wasn't just a pet, he was his shadow, his laughter, his safety. The boy's parents often said, "Where our son goes, Max follows." They played in the garden, chasing butterflies and tiny dreams. When the boy fell, Max would nudge him up, tail wagging proudly. At night, they'd fall asleep together, the boy's hand on Max's paw. It was love in its simplest, purest, most unbreakable form. But one morning, the laughter stopped, replaced by quiet worry. Doctors spoke in low voices, their faces heavy with sorrow. The boy was diagnosed with a rare illness, one that time couldn't heal. Hospitals replaced playgrounds, needles replaced toys. And through it all, Max stayed, watching, waiting, understanding. He'd sit by the hospital bed, eyes filled with silent prayers. The boy whispered, "Don't worry, Max, I'll be okay." Max wagged his tail, though he seemed to know the truth. No matter how weak his little friend became, Max never left his side. Because love, real love, doesn't run when life gets hard. It stays, even when hearts begin to break. Each day became a memory, each night a quiet goodbye. But through every tear, there was still warmth, still loyalty. For in that boy's fragile hands, Max had found his forever home. And even as time slipped away, love only grew stronger. Because some souls are meant to meet, even if only for a little while. The hospital staff had grown used to Max's gentle presence. He'd walk softly beside the boy's wheelchair, never needing a leash. He knew every turn of the hospital hallway by heart. Every nurse had a smile for him, a hero in golden fur. But one night, something changed, something in Max's eyes. He stopped eating, stopped sleeping, and wouldn't move from the door. It was as if he could feel time running out. The boy was weaker now, his breaths short and trembling. His mother stroked Max's head and whispered, "He might not make it." Max just looked at her, eyes glistening like tears he couldn't shed. When visiting hours ended, the staff tried to take him outside. But Max planted himself on the floor, refusing to leave. No tug, no call, no command could move him. He pressed himself against the boy's bed, heart to heart. The nurses saw and decided to let him stay, just one night. That night, Max didn't sleep. He watched, listened, and waited. Every time the boy stirred, Max nudged his hand gently, When the machines beeped, Max whimpered softly, like a prayer. He was ready, not to say goodbye, but to protect one last time. Outside, rain began to fall, soft and endless, like the tears of angels. And in that quiet room, two hearts beat as one, until dawn. It wasn't goodbye. It was love standing guard over life itself. Because sometimes, even in silence, love shouts louder than words. And that night, everyone who saw it wept. The sun rose softly through the pale curtains. Birds sang, unaware of the heartbreak inside. The boy opened his eyes slowly, searching for his friend. Max was there, head resting gently on the boy's blanket. He gave a soft bark, as if to say, "I'm here, buddy." The boy smiled faintly, a smile that broke every heart. His parents stood quietly, tears streaming down their faces. The doctor whispered, "He's at peace. Keep him comfortable." But Max didn't understand peace. He only understood presence. He licked the boy's hand, a goodbye too painful to speak. The boy whispered, "Don't cry, Max. I'll be waiting for you." And Max whimpered softly, pressing closer. In that instant, it felt like heaven was watching. Time stood still. The moment stretched forever. Every sound, every breath, every heartbeat slowed. The boy exhaled one final sigh, gentle, pure, and calm. The monitor fell silent, but Max didn't move. He stayed right there, guarding his best friend's peace. Everyone in the room broke down in tears. The nurses said they had never seen such loyalty. Even in death, the boy wasn't alone. Because Max had promised, and he kept his promise. Sometimes angels have wings, and sometimes they have paws. And that morning, heaven gained two hearts, not one. For love had bound them beyond the veil of life itself. When they tried to move Max away, he refused to leave. He lay beside the little boy for hours, still, silent, faithful. He didn't bark, he didn't eat, he just stayed. Every breath from him was heavy with sorrow. The hospital staff stood in tears. No one could speak. Even the strongest hearts broke seeing his devotion. Someone recorded the scene, and the world soon watched. Millions saw the moment, the bond of a lifetime. Messages poured in. "This broke me, purest love ever." People said it reminded them what true love really means. Max's eyes told the story better than words ever could. He had lost his world, but still guarded what remained. At the funeral, he walked behind the small white coffin. Every step slow, like he carried the weight of goodbye. When the boy's parents placed flowers, Max placed his paw. It was a moment no one could ever forget. Tears flowed freely, even from those who never met them. Because love that deep, it speaks to every soul on earth. And that day, Max became a symbol of loyalty, faith, and forever. He taught millions that love doesn't die, it transforms. That goodbye isn't the end. It's the beginning of forever. And the world cried, not from sadness, but from awe. For they had witnessed love in its purest form. And it came from the heart of a dog. Days passed after the boy's funeral. The house felt empty, quiet like a paused heartbeat. The parents couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't stop crying. And Max, he sat beside the boy's bed, waiting. Sometimes he'd bark softly, as if calling to him. Sometimes he'd look at the door, expecting his friend to return. But one evening, something extraordinary happened. The parents found Max sitting near the window, staring at the sky. The sunset painted golden light across his fur. And for a brief moment, the wind carried a soft, familiar sound. The boy's laughter. Gentle, distant, like a memory. Max's ears lifted. His tail wagged once, slowly. He looked peaceful, almost smiling. Then quietly, he lay down on the rug, eyes half closed. The parents called his name, but he didn't move. He had gone, gently, beautifully, as if following the sound. Side by side, in heaven's garden, two souls met again, a boy and his dog, running free, chasing light. The parents wept, but not from grief this time. They knew Max had kept his promise. He had waited until they could be together again. The story spread everywhere, touching millions of hearts. Because some goodbyes are not endings, they're reunions. And that's how love wins, in life and beyond. Forever remembered, forever loved, the boy and his dog. Their story still whispers, real love never dies. The boy's room remained untouched, like time had paused there. His toys still lay neatly on the shelves, waiting for laughter. The tiny bed, the blanket, the favorite stuffed bear, all silent. And on the pillow, a few golden hairs still shimmered in the light. His mother often sat there, whispering stories to the empty room. She said it felt like her son was listening, smiling somewhere above. Max's collar hung near the window, a symbol of forever. Every time the wind blew, it jingled softly like a gentle hello. The parents couldn't bear to move anything, not even his shoes, because that room was more than space, it was memory. They sometimes heard faint steps at night, soft and rhythmic, as if paws were still walking across the floor, guarding their boy. Neighbors said they saw light flicker through the curtains at dawn. And each time, the parents would smile through tears. Max came again, the father whispered one morning. Even after death, their love lingered like a scent of roses. The house was no longer sad. It was sacred. Every corner whispered of love, laughter, and loyalty. It was a reminder that some bonds cannot be erased, because when love is pure, it becomes part of the air we breathe. The parents didn't lose a son or a dog. They gained angels. Angels who walked unseen, but never far away. And sometimes, in the silence, you could almost hear them together. A boy's giggle, a dog's bark, and the soft hum of peace. A melody that never truly ended. The video of Max's final moments spread like wildfire online. Millions watched the loyalty of a dog who never gave up. News anchors cried on live TV, unable to finish their lines. Artists painted the scene, poets wrote verses about them. Children sent letters saying, "Max taught me love." Old men whispered, "If only humans loved like that." The story crossed oceans, languages, and hearts. People shared it not as news, but as a lesson. It reminded the world what kindness truly looks like. That love doesn't need to speak. It just needs to stay. The parents received thousands of messages from strangers. Each one said the same thing. Thank you for sharing him. Even those who never owned a pet felt something shift inside. A new respect, a new belief in silent goodness. Max became a symbol of hope in a world growing cold. He showed that loyalty isn't taught. It's felt. That love is not measured in time, but in depth. And that even a dog can heal hearts across continents. When people looked into Max's eyes, they saw truth. Truth that life is short, but love makes it eternal. The boy and Max didn't just change their family's world. They changed everyone's. A golden retriever became the heartbeat of humanity, and a child's spirit became the smile in every tear. Together, they reminded the world, love still lives here. A few months later, the boy's mother sat by the window. The world was quiet, only the sound of her pen on paper. She began to write a letter, but not to her son, to Max. "Dear Max," she wrote, "I hope you found him." She paused, her tears falling softly on the page. "You were more than a pet. You were his angel in fur. You gave him comfort when we couldn't find words. You stayed when everyone else had to go. You loved without reason, and that made all the difference. I still hear your collar ringing in the night. I still feel your warmth near his bed. I think of how you never left him, not once, You taught me what true love means, staying until the end. She sealed the letter and placed it near the photo of both. Two souls smiling, side by side, forever frozen in time. The next morning, the letter was gone. The window slightly open. A soft breeze carried the scent of wildflowers through the room. She smiled, whispering, "He found you, didn't he?" For love doesn't need mail. It travels through hearts. Somewhere beyond clouds, a boy and his dog played again. And the mother knew she'd see them both someday. Because heaven isn't above. It's where love never ends. And that letter, it wasn't goodbye. It was thank you. An artist who saw the story couldn't sleep for days. He painted what words couldn't describe. Love eternal. The painting showed the boy and Max walking into golden light. Their shadows stretched behind them, forming a single heart. It was raw, emotional, and breathtakingly real. The painting went viral, displayed in galleries and schools. People stood before it, crying silently, holding strangers' hands. It wasn't just art. It was a message carved in color. Every brushstroke whispered, "This is what love looks like." It hung later in a children's hospital to inspire hope. Sick kids pointed to Max and smiled, whispering, "He's brave." Doctors said the room felt lighter ever since it arrived. The painting became a prayer, wordless, eternal, healing. It reminded people that the smallest lives leave the biggest marks. That love, when pure, doesn't fade with time. It grows. The parents visited it every year, laying flowers beneath. They'd stand quietly, holding hands, remembering softly. Because that painting wasn't just art. It was memory. A doorway between heaven and earth, life and afterlife. It told the story of two souls who refused to be apart. And it whispered to everyone who saw it, "Love is the only thing that lasts forever." And through that canvas, they lived on, together, always. Immortal in paint, immortal in love. Love doesn't need words. It just needs presence. Loyalty doesn't end with life. It transcends it. A dog's heart can teach what 1,000 sermons cannot. Real love doesn't fade. It simply finds another form. Because true love never says goodbye.